Buzz's Retirement Garage. I am Buzz, and the title of this video is I haven't formulated it completely yet, but it's going to be something like my biggest decision, financial decision in retirement. And how did that come about and what is it? So, how did it come about? And if you don't know me, because I've been fortunate to pick up some subscribers lately. So if you don't know me, I retired from the automotive stamping and welding industry back in September of 2023. And the reason why I retired then is because we had a program called the Toyota Tacoma. And in that program, we had a lot of stampings and weldments that we did for a sub-supplier of Toyota. The parts would be shipped to Mexico. Well, in 2023, I knew the project was going to end. It was supposed to end actually in 2022, but COVID extended it. The 2020 COVID thing extended the program out a bit further. So I knew in 2023 that it was going to be tough to lose the sales from that program, and because it was significant, and we were not awarded the new parts, and everything for the Toyota Tacoma now is being made and assembled in Mexico, in mid-Mexico. The actual vehicle was assembled by Toyota in San Antonio, Texas, and then it went to Mexico. They built a plant there, and so did our sub-supplier. They built a plant closer or further into Mexico. So I don't believe any of the United States plants, factories, were able to get any of the new work for that program because of shipping costs mostly. So we were left with a reduction in sales that was significant for us, and coupled with the fact that another big program that we had with Stellantis didn't take off like it was supposed to because the vehicle wasn't selling. We were, at the time, I knew that, the overhead that we had, we couldn't sustain. So something had to give. And I was getting close to retirement, and instead of me taking over someone else's job or, firing somebody so that I could keep going, I decided that, I'm close enough to retirement, why don't I just go? So, switching gears, I went to the doctor yesterday, and they wanted to set me up because I'm 65. In January, I'm 65. And they wanted to set me up with a scan that if you're a former smoker or current smoker and you're a male, they want you to get this free. When you're on Medicare, it's free. A vascular abdominal aorta aneurysm screening. Say that 10 times fast. So I got that set up, and then the lady from the place that's going to scan me basically said, hey, I need your Medicare card. Well, I don't carry my Medicare card around. I carry my Cigna Plan N card with me because it's laminated. The red, white, and blue card you get from the government, your Medicare card is not laminated. It's a piece of paper. So I don't keep it in my wallet for that reason. And I should, and I did put it in there. But when I went to get that card from my folder of Social Security and Medicare and my, big, thick binder of stuff, I pulled out my old Social Security statement. You know the one that they give you that shows all your earnings and your projected, what you could get from Social Security, the projected dollar amounts based on your age. And I started looking at that because I got this one from August 3rd, 2022. And I started doing the math in 2022 about retiring. Now, I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, who have retired have kind of went through a similar exercise. How much am I going to get? How long should I go? When am I going to die? And all those different things that it's a tough decision to make. Now, for some of you, it's easier to make than others. But for me, I was sitting there thinking, should I get another job? Should I try to extend out my Social Security? Because I was probably going to end up retiring in 2023, which I did, which I ultimately did. Remember, I'm looking at this in 2022, in August. So I'm thinking, if I can just keep making it, okay, great. But by August 2023, we knew the program was going to be ending. And it ended, I believe, in September, actually. And I retired basically the same time the program ended. So that was September, end of September, I left in 2023. So I knew the days was coming. And again, the big question for me was, do I continue to work somewhere else? And would I make that kind of money? So I would probably make less money. I'm already going to be, in my early 60s, I should say. Who's going to hire me? All these things went through my head. But the biggest factor, and this is the number one factor that you have to, and it's debated all the time. The biggest factor for me was, when am I going to die? Because that makes such a difference when you're calculating your Social Security numbers. And I thought to myself, I had a history of cancer back, it was 11 years ago. Otherwise, I'm pretty good. But once you have cancer, it's always in the back of your mind that you're not infallible. You're not Superman. Something like that can take you down like that. And we all know somebody that's happened to. So I projected, some people say, the tables say, the tables, I don't go by that. I figured, based on my family history, and everybody's going to be different, but based on my family history, 75 was a good number for me. And that's what I based everything off of. So you hear the people say, take Social Security early because you're going to, die, da-da-da-da-da. And so I was doing that math before I even watched some of these people who advocate for taking Social Security early. I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those people that advocate for taking Social Security early. Some people need to. Some people have to. But I wasn't a big advocate for it. And so I started looking at my stuff, and I brought my paper. And this was, in 2022, so almost 3 years ago, that I was doing this chicken scratch. But you could see, let me get up here with you. You can see on my paper, if you see my table up here, so basically what it's saying is that, and you could freeze frame this, just freeze your laptop, freeze your TV, give you a second, and then we could talk about it. So memorize those numbers. Memorize the numbers. But at 63 to 75 years old, that was 12 years. Projected out, I was going to get, this is, again, 2022 numbers, no increases, no, nothing, just flat. These are the flat numbers. I was going to get $21.28 a month. And that would have came out to $306,432 by the time I died. So if you pick up at 67, which is my full retirement age, so FRA, full retirement age, it was 67 for me, and it was $275,424 if I die at 75. So that's, $25,000, a little over $30,000 less in that time frame. $30,000 less. Now, the big question is, am I going to live past 75? Am I going to be one of those that goes to 80, 85, 90? I'm betting against it. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm betting against it. I'm thinking 75, 80 tops. So taking that Social Security early, or I should say, stop working earlier, collecting, in my case, is probably not a bad thing. Now, if you look at the tables, and this is where it's really appealing, and most, I should say, I always use the word most. Some people love to look at that number. If you saw at 67, I have it listed as an extra $686 a month, or 8232, $8,232 more a year. Plus you're working until 67, so you're at full pay, assuming you're at full pay. In my case, that would have been another 3 years where I could have collected at full pay and then also got the extra $686 a month. To me, that made sense too. Now, of course, if I die at 75, I'm going to lose $30,000. So it's one of those, 6 of one, half dozen of another. Sure, getting that extra money, but I just gave up 3 more years of my life. And when I mean 3 more years of my life, 3 more years of non-retirement. And trust me, I'm enjoying every single minute of this retirement, as many of my subscribers know. I can't think of a better job to have as being retired. I cannot think of anything better. The money or that time. It's amazing. And I made that decision in 2023. And I'm telling you, I went back and forth on this thing almost nightly, just thinking, what's the best, praying on it. What's the best situation for me and Mrs. Buzz? What is the best situation? Do I continue to work? And I said my job description would have probably changed. I was operations manager. It would have changed, and I probably would have had to have assumed more duties than I already had. And did I really want to do that at 63 years old, is assume more duties and, make that drive to Akron and back every single day and do more duties? And there's probably a couple roles that would have forced me to be there at 6:30 in the morning, or even 6 in the morning. I'm not an early person. So I knew my time there was done. But should I have found something else to bide me over and work another 3 years to at least till I got to FRA and picked up that extra $686 a month, which would have been more, of course, with the increases, the yearly increases. That was the biggest financial decision. And right now, in 2025, I think, even though I'm not a wealthy man, I'm not sitting here on a pile of money. You see my chair's a little short because I'm not sitting on a pile of money. That extra 3 years of freedom, you can't put a price on that. I mean, you really can't. That waking up every day and not worried about going somewhere to struggle to do something that you really wouldn't want to do. You wouldn't do it unless they paid you, right? Most people go to work because you're getting paid, right? It's common sense, but break it down. Break it down. If you weren't getting paid, would you still go do that 40, 50 hours a week? Of course not. Now, there's always exceptions. But you're not going to do that. So you're being, I don't want to say forced, that's not the right word. You're going somewhere to earn the money. And if you have an extra 3 years where, maybe these numbers will work for me. No, I'm not going to be rich. I'm not going to die rich. But am I comfortable? Yes. Would I do it all over again? Sitting here right now in June of 2025, having experienced, more than a year and a half of retirement, I would say the answer is yes. Yes. And yes. Buzz's Retirement Garage. We'll see you soon.